latest flight status before heading to the airport. Now, at a time when there is a holiday season which is upon us and lots of air travel which is taking place, for India's largest carrier to be in this situation is a real disaster. But let me explain what this is essentially all about. Now, the Indigo crisis is in fact about phased implementation of something called flight duty time limitations, or FDTL. Now, these are norms which govern the number of hours that pilots can actually operate. These FDTL norms were rolled out in phases with major changes effective from July 2025 and the final phase being enforced from the 1st of November. So that's something which is a real crisis. Now, as part of all of this, there are extended weekly rest periods, with crew members requiring 48 hours of weekly rest at this stage. Now, that's up from the earlier limit of 36 hours. So that significantly reduces overall crew availability. There are night landing restrictions. Night landings have been restricted per crew at 2 per week. That's down from 6. That's a huge problem for the airline. That severely impacts Indigo's heavy reliance on late night and red-eye flights. The issue of crew shortage, however, is the one that's the big one. And it's sort of part of all of this. The new rules have caused an acute shortage of pilots and cabin crew, resulting in hundreds of daily cancellations and widespread delays. So it is a plunge in the punctuality of the airline. Indigo's on-time performance has fallen to around 35% just yesterday. That's the worst among major Indian carriers. This is at one level about safety-driven reforms in the aviation sector. Norms are limiting daily flying to 8 hours and mandate rest periods twice the flight duration to combat fatigue, forcing rapid roster changes and urgent hiring. India's airlines, particularly low-cost airlines, budget carriers, operate right on the edge of financial viability. If something like this disrupts the system, then the entire network gets impacted. Joining us now, Rajkumar Rawal, one of the Indigo passengers impacted today. Mr. Rawal, thank you very much for speaking to us. Where were you when you learned that your flight was cancelled?
No, it's like my flight got delayed from Goa and I was coming to Delhi. But whatever you are talking and hearing about the Indigo technical glitches and the crew problems, but I faced a altogether different scenario, because when I landed at T1 at Delhi, so almost all the flights luggage was not handed over to any of the passengers. They were waiting from last 3 hours. So I don't know the technical glitches, crew, all these problems are, but the luggage was not being handed over to any of the others. So I have shared with you at T1, almost chaos, all the belts, all 7 belts, Indigo was not able to deliver the baggage also. And there is nobody to answer, respond to any of the passengers. Somebody has a hospital, somebody has to go to the marriages, somebody has to take onward flights. So it's all chaos for last 4 hours.
All right, be with us, Mr. Rawal. We'll keep talking to you about your experience. Amit Singh, Captain Amit Singh joins us. He's an air safety expert, the founder of the Safety Matters Foundation. Devesh Agarwal, another aviation expert with us, and Dr. Vandana Singh as well. Thank you all very much for being with us. Amit, let me come to you first. Why has this happened?
Well, this hasn't happened out of the blue. The schedules are approved well in advance. The winter schedule came into effect on 26th of October. It will last till March. As compared to the summer schedule, there was a 6% increase in the number of flights per week, up to 856 additional flights. So when you're catering for additional flights, there has to be additional crew. And there was some premise based on which all these approvals were given, probably because there was a push from the airlines or the operators to put into effect the fatigue risk management system, which is a very advanced level of system which the current operators are not capable of handling. It is a data-driven system, and it is equivalent to another safety management system in place. So that was they were trying to push it through a circular, which means a slipshod method, a shortcut method, so that they can squeeze more hours from the pilots. So that is not actually giving more rest to the pilots or.
Okay, Amit, hold on for a second. Let me bring in Devesh Agarwal at this stage. Mr. Agarwal, does this essentially mean that as per the new norms which ensure that pilots are not fatigued or crew members are not fatigued, as per these new norms, does it appear that Indigo simply doesn't have the number of pilots it presently requires, particularly since it continues to grow with new aircraft inductions taking place all the time?
Good evening, Vishnu. Thank you for having me. Yes, partly this is a reason. None of the Indian carriers were expecting the new flight, duty time limit norms to be implemented. They expected, one more extension, and when the government didn't give it, they were kind of caught off guard. One. Part of it also is the design of Indigo's network. If you notice the other major carriers, which is Air India Express, Akasa, and SpiceJet, Indigo has a lot more what I call point-to-point flights. These other airlines tend to have a significant hub and spoke operation, even though they have multiple hubs. So if you notice, and I'm very sure a lot of your viewers will have noticed, a lot of Indigo crew now what they call deadhead. You will see pilots and cabin crew of Indigo flying as passengers on a particular flight to a destination and then operating the flight from that particular destination.
Right.
Now, what's happening is, let's say you have a flight from Patna to Delhi. You have one pilot that's coming in from Calcutta, one pilot that's coming in from Delhi. The two have to meet at Patna and operate the flight back. Now, God forbid, one of the flights gets delayed. It has an impact downstream. Similarly, what you are seeing right now is, the Chinese, they had a saying, they say death by 1,000 cuts.
Yep.
So if you see all these things like, baggage belt not working, Hyderabad, there's some issue, ATC somewhere there's an issue, the Airbus software update was an issue. So all these were, by and of itself, they are very small issues. But they have sort of all come together into a kind of a perfect storm for Indigo. And because they're operating 2,200 flights, it's, even a 5% or a 10% disruption in their flights becomes a very noticeable number.
Yeah, it's 5% is what they're saying, or my sources are saying that it's about 5% odd. But let me just read out a sentence or a statement from Indigo and get Dr. Vandana Singh to reflect on this. A multitude of unforeseen operational challenges, including minor technology glitches, right? That was the recent upgrade to Airbus aircraft which was required. Schedule changes linked to the winter season, adverse weather conditions, increased congestion in the aviation system, and the implementation of updated crew rostering rules, in other words, flight duty time limitations, have had a negative impact, compounding impact on our operations in a way that was not feasible to be anticipated. The question, Vandana, that many would be asking is, how come other airlines aren't impacted as badly? In fact, they aren't impacted at all.
Exactly, Vishnu. Firstly, thank you for having me on your show, and good evening also to the audience, Captain Amit and Devesh. Very good evening to you. So to answer your question, Vishnu, exactly, why are the other airlines not impacted to that limit? The answer lies in the question itself and the press release that has been taken out. If it was the technology glitch, the software has already been updated on the 200 A320 equipments. As far as the hardware update is concerned, the amount of aircrafts that are going through it are not so many that should cause this kind of glitch.
Right.
So it's actually boiling down to the main thing. It is basically the implementation of the second phase of the FDTL norms. Obviously, they have not been prepared for it. We are talking about fatigue risk management system. The new hours have kicked in. Indigo has been really piloting on a very aggressive growth plan, especially with their night flight operations. And now that the night landings are reduced to 2, down from 8 to 6 to 2, they are in this jam. And rightfully said, most of the Indigo flights, every Indigo flight, you see a deadhead crew, at least 3 to 4 deadhead crew on each flight, as I say. And this clearly shows pilots trained, pilot shortage. And Indigo should have been well prepared, proactively prepared for this. So that is why their performance is down to 33%. That is why the cancellations are down. Cancellations are up to 200, as we know, and growing. So it's a ripple effect, and they cannot cite technology glitches and operational issues and congestion issues. I think that's common to all.
Sure.
The question is, why were they not prepared?
Yeah, I agree. Rajkumar Rawal, do any of these explanations help you understand the ordeal that you face today?
So it's not been communicated to any of the passengers. Even GMR airport managers was not aware of anything. CSIF was not able to answer. Only the Indigo person was not able to address the issue of general passengers, because all this issue might be technical issues are okay, but the ground staff handing over the luggage and or rest of the things are not been done. So it's 4 hours anybody is standing out there for the luggage, you can understand. And this whole of the airport was in chaos because of there is no technology, no other things what have been talked there is of applicable to anyone.
You know, Amit, I think Mr. Rawal raises a good point. Communication. If there is a crisis and airlines don't communicate, then the entire system fails. If there are passengers waiting for 3-4 hours per his account for their luggage, and that's just one part of the entire crisis, then obviously, and ground handlers and others are unable to understand or explain the situation, or have been told not to explain the situation, then that causes chaos. How important is communication in modern aviation?
Well, communication is the key. And if you look from top to bottom, the DGCA is responsible for safety oversight. DGCA cannot be there everywhere. So DGCA has left it to the operators for self-regulation, and DGCA only comes in for an audit and audits the processes. Now, if all these things were happening as per standards, the breakdown would not happen. Every winter we see, whenever there's a pressure, we fail the pressure test. No doubt we are resilient. We come back very soon, but again, we keep on repeating the same things. If not for technology, it is fog or something else. Everywhere the communication, the passenger wants to know what is happening, what is holding up, and the frustration increases. That is, the key is communication. Communication between the regulator and the operator, and between the crew, the airport operator, the passengers. So all this chain, there's a crisis management cell in every airline. If there is an accident, God forbid, then key is the communication. So in this case, where was the communication happening, or where was the breakdown? And when there is a crisis, then additional manpower is required. So everybody is working on razor thin buffers. So there is no buffer in the system. Even the flight duty time limitation, they're operating to the limit which they're not supposed to operate, because under a pressure test, they will fail. The limit is a safety limit, and that is a hard stop. You cannot exceed that. So you have to have a 10% buffer, so that in case of exigencies like this, you maximum go till the limit. But everywhere recruitment is basic minimum to save cost. So efficiency in the system is not there. So communication is a major part which will drive efficiency. If a passenger is told the reason for the delay and the passenger is convinced, so there is no issue. But if you keep the passenger hanging without baggage, without any information, then the frustration grows, and then we have issues of unruly passengers, because the trust is not there in the system. Nobody trusts. The passenger doesn't trust the operator doesn't trust the regulator, and vice versa.
Yep.
So it is a bigger cultural issue which has to be tackled, and these things will keep cropping up. If not this, something else of this sort will crop up the next time.
Devesh Agarwal, the question, sir, is very basic, which I think people watching this program will be asking. Is it safe to fly the airline, or for that matter, any airline in India? I think that's a common concern which viewers not, sort of exposed to aviation as we are. And I think it's a valid question. What would your answer be?
Vishnu, you and I both know, I think all of us on the panel will say Indian carriers are safe. There is no doubt today air transport is still the safest form. I often joke with friends, I say you're at more risk getting out of your bed than you are flying in a plane. You were talking one thing about communication. See, crisis communication is something that it doesn't matter whether it's aviation or anything. It's something that every CEO must know, and they must have a crisis communications kind of a war room in place to communicate to the customers. One small statistic, and I will use this platform of NDTV to communicate to your viewers. Almost 90% of bookings made on any airline, it doesn't matter if it's Indigo, Air India, anybody, is made via travel agents. And as Captain Amit Singh said, this industry is loath to share data. The travel agent doesn't provide the passenger's mobile number or email address. The airline doesn't give that info to the airport. Heck, our Digi Yatra doesn't share the information due to security reasons. So one thing I will urge every passenger to please, if you have made your booking through a travel agent, go to the airline website, look up your PNR and make sure the contact information is updated so that the airline, when it does indeed put out a notice for delay, you get it and not your travel agent, who is definitely not going to call you up in the middle of the night saying, hey, your flight is cancelled. Yeah. You will find out only after you go to the airport and then you get completely demoralized. Also, Mr. Rahul, the passenger, he was saying, the baggage belts were not working. The baggage belts actually belong to Delhi Airport. It is GMR and DIAL who should be responsible for the airport. We can't hold the airline responsible. And if the whole baggage system breaks down, the person is not able to operate his flight, because how is he going to take the baggage through the security and put it into the plane? You definitely don't want an unscreened bag going into this thing. It's against all international norms, which was in fact put into place after the Kanishka bombing. Yeah. Because the bags were used, if you recall, prior to Kanishka, bags were never X-rayed. So we have processes in place, but as exactly how Captain Amit Singh said, that because of all the pressures of costs and everything else, and yeah, let's face it, passengers shift airlines for 100 rupees. Now, how can we fault an airline for wanting to operate at the thinnest of margins, because they have to remain profitable by still offer the low fares that passengers are expecting? So it is a kind of a catch-22 situation, but I think what Indigo is doing is in a way raising the white flag. They realize what they're doing. They're curtailing the flights. They're trying to reset the system before they again go back. It is definitely a learning experience.
No, it is, but let me just interrupt for half a second. I'm just looking at flight radar. We've got a departure situation with average delays of 50 minutes at Delhi airport. Just a cursory look at the departure situation. I'm not even looking at the arrival situation. Indicates that almost all Indigo flights are very badly delayed. That's the situation as it is now. Vandana, how soon before Indigo, I mean, I know they've said 48 hours, but realistically, given the mess that they are in, how long do you think it's going to take before they get back anywhere close to the punctuality which they're renowned for?
To put their act in order, I think, Vishnu, it's going to take the whole of this week, for sure. It's not about 48 hours. As I mentioned, this is a ripple effect. And they cannot cite congestion and all of these other problems. They have to get their rostering in order. They have to get their crew resource management in order. And they have to get all this in place and add to it. I'm adding to what Deveshji said and what Captain Amit said. We are today on December 3. And there was a debate on the user development fee, which is being highly debated at Navi Mumbai Airport and Noida International Airport. Now the question is, what is the passenger going to pay extra for if even the baggage cannot be delivered on time? So that is another big debate that's opening up.
No, 100%. I think that user development fee is a huge issue, and it's something we need to look at very closely. But I'm out of time on this program, and I'd like to thank all of you very much for being with us. It's a real crisis in an airline known all over the world for its punctuality, to have the system completely collapse with at least 110 flights, some suggest 200 flights being cancelled. 200 flights, some reports say, cancelled today alone. My numbers seem to suggest it's in the range of 110 flights cancelled today, which might be well less than what is being reported elsewhere. But that's a real crisis. Almost all of the Indigo aircraft are at least 150 seaters, other than their ATR planes, which are much smaller. So just do the math on it and look at the number, the tens of thousands of passengers who've been impacted today alone. A real crisis in Indian aviation, and one that might just go on for the next few days before the airline manages to get its act together. For the moment, from all of us here, good night.
सैल्यूट है जी, आप देश की रक्षा में जान लगा देते हैं।
और आप
घर घर में तार लगाते हैं जी। ई बीम टेक्नोलॉजी से बनी, न जले न पिघले, सबकी रक्षा करे।
हम सरहद पर लोगों की रक्षा करते हैं, और आप देश के अंदर। सैल्यूट तो बनता है जी।
अपार अणुशक्ति फायर प्रोटेक्ट वायर, अपार देश का तार।
I just feel very privileged in the film industry, an industry that I'm extremely proud of.
I'm honored to receive this prestigious award.
I feel overwhelmed that the NDTV has chosen me for this very special award.
Thank you so very much. This means a lot to me.
It's a great honor and a great privilege.
Really blessed to get this, and I'm really happy.
This is one of the few moments I'm going to be humble, so please record this properly, guys.
आज का दिन सबसे पहले जो फुट सोल्जर्स, जो प्रिजाइडिंग ऑफिसर्स और जो टीम है, उनको सेलिब्रेट करने का है।
And the NDTV Indian of the Year Award 2025 goes to
NDTV Indian of the Year 2025 19 दिसंबर सिर्फ NDTV नेटवर्क पर।
Two world leaders, one crucial meet. Putin says Namaste India. The bonhomie, the Big Bang deals.
भारत और रूस हमेशा कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर चले।
Strategic shifts and the global impact. NDTV tracks the high-stakes handshake. Modi-Putin summit on NDTV 24/7.
Pulling us
other
into
opposition parties. They argue, I conclude. They deflect, I drill down. Stop. This isn't a free-for-all. It's a reckoning. No filler, no fog. Only the facts and where they lead. Every night at 9, the case closes because the buck stops here.
The front lines of Kargil. The fury of Operation Sindhu.
So many attacks.
The chaos and cries of disaster zones. To fighter jet cockpits. And the world's most defining interviews.
It's incredible.
He has seen history break. Live. Unfiltered. 20,000 hours of live broadcasting.
Welcome to Left, Right and Centre.
Hard facts.
War-struck country.
Hard questions.
In the Ukraine.
30 years of trust.
In the Kargil area. North Ukraine. In France. In Italy. At Srinagar. Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Vishnu Shom. Only on NDTV. They have inspired us. They have redefined what's possible. They have shown how ideas spark inspiration and create impact. NDTV Indian of the Year 2025. Ideas, inspiration, impact. Coming soon.
Across the country,
he has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else. Only on NDTV network.
The best app to use is the NDTV app.
दुनिया भर में जब भी भारतीय मीडिया की चर्चा होती है तो एनडीटीवी सबसे पहले जिक्र में आता है।
मैं आपका बात से सहमत हूं, उल्टे हम भी जब विदेश जाते हैं, the best app to use is the NDTV app.
21 days in Kashmir. People have bombarded me, friends, with requests for an unfiltered list of things I saw and observed on the ground. Very special ground report from the line of control. There were some children who've lost limbs in the shelling. They are now India's smallest but possibly the most powerful crime family. Cough syrup has killed at least 25 children. Gaikwad sahab, aise mat kijiye. Suddenly people are wondering about the weaponization of India-Pakistan cricket. We live and breathe elections. You will not believe your eyes or ears when I show you what I'm about to do. And for a country that has fought so many wars in the mountains and at high altitude, we're standing on the Indian Navy's newest warship, the line of control, Shiv Arun, NDTV.
What seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind, I pause, I reflect, I dig until what's buried stands up to be counted. Breaking ground, not just headlines, the meaning behind them. This is Breaking Ground with me, Vedika Sood.
Namaste, India. As you all know, I've been traveling around the world with my music. This one is
India's largest airline, Indigo, is facing one of its most severe operational breakdowns in recent years. Passengers are stranded with little to no information from the airline. What led to the chaos? And why are other airlines not experiencing this? That's the top focus on Newsnight with me, Raisha Sehgal. But first, the headlines. India's largest airline, Indigo, is facing one of its most severe operational breakdowns in recent years. Multiple flight delays and cancellations across the country, triggering widespread disruption for domestic travelers. Congress leader Ragini Naik shared an AI-generated video of Prime Minister Modi selling tea, sparking a major political row ahead of the winter session. Russian President Vladimir Putin in India tomorrow to meet Prime Minister Modi for dinner in Delhi. Key focus is expected to be next-generation air defense systems, including discussions around Russia's S-500 platform. And amid Chief Minister chair tussle in Karnataka, Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar lands in Delhi, ostensibly to attend a wedding.